Jayson, how are you today?
Ray, Kevin, I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm good, Jayson.
Doing well. And I want to start this week with just the show that we've been treated to in Kyle Schwarber, and I know that is where our stat of the week goes. So, Jayson, what do you have for us on that regard?
You know, Ray, I sometimes wonder if we've started to take Kyle Schwarber for granted.
A little bit.
I've dropped a few Babe Ruth comps on this station over the years, so I'm going to give you another one with the stat of the week. Kyle Schwarber, up to 173 home runs now as a Philly, 3 years and like 4 months. You want to know how many other players in history have ever joined a new team and hit that many bombs in their first 4 seasons with that team? Here come the two names. You've heard of them. How about Mark McGwire and Babe Ruth? That's all. 191 for McGwire, 189 for the Babe. I should mention that David Ortiz and A-Rod also hit 173 exactly in their first 4 years, but Schwarber's going to knock them off the list like maybe by the end of the day. So how about that group, and how about that stat?
It's absurd.
It is.
It's an insane stat. I love always looking at how he compares to Phillies history just because it's fun to think in 3.5 years, a little bit beyond that. He's hit more home runs than all but 13 people who have worn the Phillies uniform, and this organization's been around for how many years at this point?
Right. For any 4-season span, the only guy who's hit more is Ryan Howard. And like if you go back and look at Ryan Howard 2006 to 2009, he hit 198 homers. That freaking guy almost averaged 50 homers a year for 4 years. But to think that Kyle Schwarber has hit more home runs over any 4-year period than Mike Schmidt ever hit, that blows me away.
Which leads to the question, we played a Ben Verlander clip earlier saying that there is no National League MVP race, that it's Shohei Ohtani, and that's it. Now, obviously, Ben has, posters of Shohei in his walls. But let me ask you, as somebody who has done the voting on this for a long time, how serious a race do you think this is for National League MVP right now?
Yeah, that's a really good question. At the All-Star break, I actually had Wheeler ahead of Schwarber with Ohtani and Pete Crow Armstrong at 1-2. I think Schwarber is now 3 at the worst, maybe 2. I mean, PCA's having a rough month. So, let's compare Ohtani and Schwarber, which is fun. It's DH versus DH, right? We never had any DH win one till last year when Ohtani did it. So here's where it gets tough for Schwarber, because Ohtani has the same number of homers. He has almost twice as many steals. If you look at the slash line, Ohtani's higher across the board, higher average, higher on base, higher slugging percentage. Oh, and also, by the way, Ohtani pitches. So I'm not sure how anybody competes with that unless people get tired of voting for Ohtani every year, which this could happen.
Well, and there is a fatigue factor with this, correct? In some ways. I mean, we saw it with Bonds a little bit, too.
We used to see it I think we've seen it with Trout. I mean, Mike Trout probably should have won every year, and there were a couple of years there he finished second. So it's not impossible that people get tired of voting for Ohtani and start looking for somebody else. If they do, and you look at Schwarber, he is leading the league in homers and RBIs, obviously tied with Ohtani in homers. I'm sure you guys know this, but the only 2 Phillies who have led the league in homers and RBIs in any season in the last 90 years, I'll let you guess because you'll get it.
Ryan Howard's one, right?
Yeah, Mike Schmidt's the other.
Schmidt's the other, right.
There's some MVP trophies on the shelf of both those guys. So I do think Schwarber is in the conversation. I just don't know how he competes with Ohtani.
It's got to be the fatigue. That'll be what gets him. I think voter fatigue is our best case, guys.
Or honestly,
you guys sound fatigued.
Or if the Dodgers maybe lose the NL West, that could be a possibility too. If the Phillies win the division,
they're only up a game now
right.
on the Padres.
Go Padres! Voters get tired. That is our official stance. That's the platform we're rolling with here. Now, you mentioned Zack Wheeler at the All-Star break being ahead of Kyle Schwarber in your conversation. Just watching what you got from Wheeler the other day, knowing the velocity is down, and last week you said, watch what the Phillies do, not what they say when it comes to Zack Wheeler's health. Where are you at this week with what you've seen from Zack Wheeler and what you know about the inner workings of his health right now?
Yeah, I'm still not on board with he's fine, he's normal, the words they've been throwing out there. When I watched Zach the other day, I did not think that it was just about velocity. I've never seen him miss his spot by that much, especially early in that start. Some of those pitches that he would yank to the glove side, it's just not him. We've seen him do his thing for a long time, and I honestly don't know if it's fatigue, which is the word that Ricky keeps using, or whether it's something more. I just know he doesn't look physically comfortable on the mound in a way we're used to seeing him. I'm just going to be really interested to see how they handle this. Rob Thompson all but said last night that he's probably going to go to a six-man rotation when Aaron Nola comes back, which could be this week. And is that the answer? I will stick to the one thing that I said last week, which is managing the innings and managing the fatigue of this rotation is the single most important issue for this team between now and October.
When you look at the NL East race, and it's obviously going to a 6-game lead in a span of 8 days, from a half game back is what the Phillies were going to that Sunday night game against Detroit. One, is it over? Two, how big a trouble are the Mets in your mind right now?
It's amazing that if you go back to June 12th when the Mets were 21 games over, that's more games over 500 than the Phillies are now, right? Since then, the Mets have a worse record than the White Sox, right? Does that blow your mind or what? And some of that's misleading. I know that, but it's really hard for me to convince myself that they're as good as they were last year. Their lineup the last 2 months has been Soto and Nimmo fine. Everybody else brutal. Their rotation has an ERA of about 5 over the last 2 months, and they're really grasping for how to put that together. You stack up rotations, Mets versus Phillies. Stack up lineups in their current state, Mets versus Phillies. Tell me there's a case that the Mets are better right now. I don't see it.
No. As someone that all season's been worried about the Mets, it's really hard to feel yourself worried about the Mets in terms of the way they match up on paper.
The Phillies are benefiting the Mets right now by beating the Reds last night and kind of keeping the Reds a little bit at arm's length here. So.
Yeah, I could see the Reds catching the Mets.
Yeah, I could too.
And Terry Francona working his magic. You think I'm crazy?
No, not at all. I think that's likely, to be honest, at this point.
While we're in this conversation about these two teams, one of the things I think out of the deadline we talked about was just how much the Mets put into their bullpen. Now, the Phillies obviously go and get Duran, and that's been tremendous, but it's been kind of the stabilizing force of having him there that's made this bullpen look a lot better in this stretch. Again, small sample size for a bullpen, but what have you seen from this bullpen since the addition of Duran that's kind of allowed it to pitch this well and find its groove over the last 2 weeks or so?
Ray, I came away from that first game that Duran pitched thinking, this guy is a team-changing figure. And nothing I've seen since has swayed me from that. People used to dread the ninth inning around here. Now nobody can wait for the ninth inning. He's the first closer in the history of the franchise to show up and rip off 1, 2, 3 saves in his first 3 appearances in a row as a Philly. And because he's so good, and he's been so good, he's changed the roles, and he has lightened the loads of everyone else. So since his first game, their bullpen ERA is 1.63. It's the third best ERA in the sport, and they have by far the best strikeout to walk ratio. It's over 5-1. And then think how big the circle of trust feels all of a sudden. You know, it's Duran, Strom, Kirkring, but now, David Robertson is clearly the plan is for him to work his way into it. Jose Alvarado is back next week, throwing great in AAA. If Jordan Romano just has to be the 6th inning guy, does that put him in it? I think he might be if he's only going to have to pitch occasionally in that role. So I don't think this bullpen is the equal of the Padres, but as I said last week, they're telling you now what their formula to win is. When you have a rotation this good, you're going to lead a lot because you just give up fewer runs than everybody else. And when you hold the lead in October, those are must-win games. They haven't won those games in October the last 3 years. Don't you feel like they're better set up to win them now? I do.
Yeah, I do. And I think the slotting thing, and look, when this team's been good, they've always had slotting in their bullpen. Going back, if you want to go back to 80 when Tugger was at the back end, then it was Ron Reed and all that. If you want to go back to 08 with Lidge and Madsen and Romano and all that. So, yeah, they needed to get some stability. I think that's the one other part of it. Let me ask you right now, if you look at the landscape of this sport, what team right now that is in playoff contention or in a playoff spot is in the biggest trouble? Because there's 2 up north that appear to be really leaking oil.
I think it's certainly the Mets would be number 1 on my list. I know the Yankees have a slimmer lead. The Yankees only have a 1-game lead now over Cleveland, but the Guardians are so offensively challenged. They have found ways to score over these last few weeks, but their margin for error as an offense is just so much smaller than anybody else's. So I feel like the Yankees will hold on. That they're, most of their issues have corresponded to this time when Aaron Judge has been banged up, and he's going to hit. They're going to stabilize that bullpen. They've got 4 closers out there. I think they'll figure that out. I laid out why I think the Mets are nowhere near as good as they were last year. So who's in more trouble than them? I don't know if there's anybody.
See, I wanted something from Jayson today to make me feel like this division was over, and I got exactly that today.
Yeah.
This conversation has made me think, well, maybe I'm ready.
Jason and I agree on this. It's not over, but it's damn close to being over, I think is what we're both saying, right?
Yeah, and the Phillies have also moved into bye position, too.
Yeah.
In the first round, which I think is helpful. As we get closer, we can discuss, what side of the draw do you want to be on? Do you want to be on the Brewers-Cubs side of the draw, or do you want to be on the Mets-Padres-Dodgers side of the draw? The Brewers are incredible right now, but I still feel like, wouldn't you rather go Cubs-Brewers early than have to deal with Dodgers, Padres, Mets, whatever combination that's in?
Right now, I'm right there with you on that one. I love you teasing future hits and what we're going to get into in those hits. I like this down the line. I like that from you, Jayson.
Yeah, anytime.
Now, one final thing for me here, and it would not be a weekly hit here if we don't address the outfield, because I feel like every week that I talk to you, either off the air or on the air, we're talking about this outfield. Castellanos sits for the hard turf in Texas over the weekend. Obviously, your colleague Matt Gelb at The Athletic had talked about the potential of Castellanos' playing time being a little bit lesser than what it had been, given he played 162 last year and has been an everyday fixture in this lineup. What do you see in the future of that Phillies outfield going forward?
It's a great question. Just looking at this from afar, and again, watching what they do as opposed to what they say, it still feels like the manager hasn't quite settled on that yet. He's trying to play everybody right now. I mean, Weston Wilson's over 400 this month. Brandon Marsh is over 400 this month. So he has all the justification he needs to play those guys. Harrison Bader he's a true center fielder. He gives them energy, attitude, defense. There's every reason to play him. So what has that meant for Nick? All of a sudden we've seen Nick sit out a game. We've seen Rob take him out for defense now in 2 other games. That's a big change to me. I think it's obviously going to depend on production, defense, data. They're definitely looking at data. I'm not 100% convinced that the reason he didn't play over the weekend was just about that turf. There might have been some other stuff going on.
If you didn't sense it in my voice there, I don't believe that for a second, Jason.
Right. So again, watch what they do. Don't just listen to what they say. They're much better defensively when it's Bader in center, Marsh in left, and anybody else, right? So it's an interesting situation. I think it's fluid. They've got a lot of guys swinging the bat right now. Marsh, Stott, Wilson are combined .426 this month. Add in JT, it's .375 for those 4 guys. Look down at the bottom, and you'll find Nick Castellanos below 200 this month.
I wish my coaches told me that hard turf was the reason why I wasn't playing. That's what I wish when I was growing up.
Jason, what do you think the possibility is that he could blow the locker room up, though? He's not a guy who takes sitting lightly.
Yeah. Look, Rob will never bench Nick completely. He'll never do that. But, Kevin, I'm just saying, you can chip away at Nick Castellanos' playing time here and there and justify it in subtle ways to where you can sell it to him, I think. I could be wrong. He's a different kind of guy. I'm not telling you anything you don't know.
Right.
Well, Jason, we appreciate you, as always, taking the time this week to join us, and I'm sure I can guarantee one thing. We'll be talking about the outfield again.
Oh, and quarterback rankings. It's like the talk show staples.
Yeah, hey, which tier do you have them in, Jason?
Yeah, right? If Jalen Hurts plays more outfield than Nick Castellanos, we'll have a conversation.
Oh, Jason, always great talking with you. Look forward to talking to you down the line.
Thanks, Jason.
Enjoyed it, guys. Thanks.
Yep.
Jayson Stark on the Comcast Business Hotline.
My favorite Lincoln grad.
I love talking with Jason. If you can't tell by how long we spoke to Jason,
yes.
I always enjoy talking with him. We come back, react to that. A couple of just smaller Phillies nuggets that I want to address and get into that aren't necessarily the big picture. But the Castellanos thing there.
It's a little. That's a nugget.
Very
interesting. That's a nugget.
We'll be back to break it down coming up here on the Midday Show. Thanks for watching. I love these outro videos because I can actually talk with my hands and it looks normal here. So subscribe right here and watch some more videos for us. How about it?